We're wrapping up that first round series with some unsung heroes, a couple of interesting stats, and who do you want to play next? It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beam down, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamp. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Primetime dapping D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team every day. I've got you covered every Monday through Friday. This podcast is free. It's found everywhere. So if you're new to the show, thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the podcast. If you're here with me all the time, if you're one of the everydayers, I do love you being here Monday through Friday. I got bonus podcasts. We figured out the schedule a little bit, so we'll get into some of that. We'll get into who the Celtics, who would you like to play? Who do you want the Celtics to play? We'll get, don't say it now. We'll say it later together. We'll get into some interesting stats, unsung heroes, and all of that stuff. Today's show is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console needed. Head into Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. This is a show so big, we needed another voice. We needed Tom Westerholm, Tom NBA of Boston.com.
What
amongst other places. What's going on, Tom?
Not too much, man. How are you? I got a little killer whale offense shirt going on. I like it.
It's the closest I can get to wearing actual Celtics gear nowadays. This is my Orca. Just a fan of Al Horford's favorite animal.
Yeah.
So
cool animal. It was my favorite animal when I was a kid.
They are an interesting group. They're an interesting group. You watch them hunting in unison, and you're like, what they did the Jumbotron bit, and Al was like, yeah, I like orcas. Joe turned me on to them, and they're really interesting. It's like, you know what? They kind of are. Oh, yeah. Like they're up there. You see them like hunting this seal on this sheet of ice, and they're like popping up, and they're like looking at him. They're like, "You still there, dude? Yeah, we're coming for you. Just hold on 1 second. We're just gonna go regroup." And like they get them, they find a way, man.
Yeah.
So the Celtics found a way, very killer whale-esque, to, even though this was tough, it was ultimately a 4-1 win, which I said yesterday. We'll look back, when we're recapping the Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown era, and be like, first round 4-1 over Orlando, and we'll forget how tough this was. I think it was a good test. I think the guys were talking about it after the game. I think everybody understood exactly how hard they had to work to make this series win happen. And it could have been a sweep, but also was very, very difficult. We may look back, depending on how this goes, we may look back on this series as the toughest one they have in this run. So it was good. It was a good test. First of all, good test, and good to get it out of the way now, rather than have Orlando be like the 4th seed and dealing with them in a second round series.
Yeah, I think it was good for the Celtics too. Like, we talked a lot about coming out of the regular season. They seemed to be in a really good groove, in a really good mental space. They seemed really ready for the playoffs. And so there wasn't a whole lot of doubt, it's not like they were on cruise control or something entering the playoffs coming into this series, but extra, just okay, yeah, it's wake up time. You got to figure out how to get buckets against a team that, 1, is really good at defense, 2, doesn't have to switch on you the way that a lot of teams, or doesn't mind switching on you the way a lot of teams do, that isn't going to double you the way you want them to. And also, by the way, is not afraid of just, whacking you hard out of the air.
Laying a hammer down.
Flying. Really, it is, I think, a really good first round series. I think that, we'll get into this later. I think that there are scenarios where, the next round series especially just feels a lot easier than that series. And that's not even to say that the Celtics second round opponent is going to be somehow like worse or like it's just going to be a much better matchup. This was a tough first round matchup for the Celtics. That's really what it comes down to. And like, like that just tested them in different types of ways, really made them kind of like sharpen up certain things. And I think if you're a Celtics fan, the best thing to come out of this series is like, okay, Jaylen and Jayson are ready. They are ready. They are comfortable. They're good. Like even the health seems to be pretty solid. I mean, I'm sure, after the season's done, we'll hear that, they've like, well, now they've got to like sit for the next 3 weeks to let something heal. But like, they look great. They played amazing. I mean, like Jayson Tatum is on a completely other level right now. Looks super comfortable, super confident. That's a great start to the postseason for the Celtics.
I think, well, I'm trying to figure out where do I want to start here. Okay, let's start with Jayson Tatum.
Yeah.
The Tatum bit is because I heard some people talking on TV, talking about like, oh, we haven't seen these kinds of 3 games from Tatum like ever. Like, okay, well, first of all, only one other player in Celtics history has had 3 straight 35-point games. So no, we haven't seen it from him or anybody outside of Larry Bird. Right. So let's be fair here. There are people like, oh, we haven't seen this before from him. So finally he's showing like, okay, time out. This was historically good.
Yes.
He's, I think, shown the ability to do whatever it takes. The line where he's like, I'm playing free, I'm carefree, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. It was so telling. It was so huge because it's like, I did it. You forget the progression of young player from 19 to still 19, but 7 years later, 8 years later, the growth, the things that you think, this is just like life. The things you used to think are important, you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I put so much emphasis on that stupid thing.
Yeah.
And then 5 years from now, he's going to look back on this and he's going to be like, oh, wow, I was really thinking about the wrong stuff there too. And it's just, that's part of a player's
kind of. 5 years after that, he's going to be like, man, I wish my body felt like it did 10 years ago when I was stupid.
That's right. That's the next step in a former, once you get to former basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, God, it very much I wish my body then is with my mind now, because I would just dominate the world.
Yeah.
But but it is growth. And we get so caught up in the constant, everything has to be a debate. So everything has to have a positive side and negative side. How about this? How about Jayson Tatum continues to grow as a player and is demonstrating continued growth. And so the player he was in the finals a couple years ago, a few years ago, that's not who he is now. And that's who he was then. And he had flaws and he's corrected a lot of those flaws. Put this Jayson Tatum in 2022 and the Celtics win the championship.
Yeah.
Like you don't get this Tatum unless he goes through that. Right. So just accept it all and just sit back and appreciate the fact that, you know what? You got a guy who actually has learned from his mistakes and isn't so stubborn that he's just going to do it his way all the time. They needed him to score this series, and he did. Next series, he'll probably be passing a lot more.
Yep.
And that's just what it's going to be. And so, yes, Tatum deserves a ton of the credit.
Yeah. I love this conversation because it harkens back to one of my favorite tropes from last year, which is the therapy Celtics. Like just take it as it comes. And like, I love that. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right too. I think that like this series was just like, he keeps, this is the growth that we've seen from Tatum, right? Is that he keeps responding to the thing that the Celtics need, and he just keeps being that thing, right? Like when the Celtics need him to be a distributor and a guy who like runs the offense, but doesn't necessarily finish every single play, he's more than happy to do that. But then when a series like this comes along and the Celtics need him to be like, okay, hey, we need a superstar to do superstar stuff against a team that, has a lot of answers, but doesn't have a player of your caliber. Tatum's like, bet, I got it. And it just goes out and is a superstar and just, rattles off the kind of run that we've only ever seen from Larry Bird. That's the quality of player that we're talking about here, which is bonkers, but that's where we're at.
He's like a handyman. He's like, you need somebody to fix fix something, a step, one of the sure, no problem. Electrical work. Yeah, I can do that. Plumbing. Sure. I can do that. No problem. You're like, man, is there anything you can't do? He is capable of doing it all. And maybe there are a couple of guys out there who do certain things better than him, but very few in the league do everything he can do as well as he can do it. And I think that's going to be some of the recognition that's going to start going his way.
And by the way, there's a lot of guys, there's very few guys who can do even the individual things better than him. There's very few guys who, it's like that, and that's the level of handyman he is. That's wild. That he's like, I'm better than the plumber. I'm good at plumbing, but but I can also fix your windows.
Right. He's like Prince, who just was a killer artist, but one of the best guitarists in the world too.
And also a hooper.
And can hoop. Could hoop. Game blouses. All right, let's get into some unsung heroes here when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. You want to play your Xbox. Maybe you want to go on a trip. This is vacation season. Summer is coming up. You're going to take your kids, or maybe it's just you. You don't want to pack a console. That's difficult. Pack the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K, and you've got an Xbox with you. All you need is a connected controller, a paired controller, and you can subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass. And now you can play all sorts of games. Premium title, hundreds of titles, including EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty. You can stream your favorite shows. It's all so easy. And when you're not in front of your main setup, you can just pop this thing into the hotel TV, and you or the kids or everybody can play together, and you can do it from almost anywhere. If you already have a console, the Fire TV Stick 4K is a more affordable and easier way to travel. And if you ever want to try out Xbox games without the upfront big investment in a console, this Fire TV Stick 4K can be a low pressure way to start exploring. Head on over to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube, third generation. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA Game Night. Locked On NBA Game Night is on the Locked On NBA feeds. You get 2 podcasts. I'm on the Game Night show on Fridays with Jake Madison. We're covering all the big games, which means playoff coverage like crazy. So very in-depth stuff with fewer games now as series start to wrap up. So go check us out there. It's a 7-day-a-week podcast. So the entire playoffs are going to be covered. Let's get back into some of these unsung heroes. The Celtics, we talked all about Jayson. We didn't talk much about Jaylen, who's gutting through the knee thing. And so I don't want there's a faction. There's factions of Jayson fans and Jaylen fans, and for some reason they just don't like each other sometimes. And I don't want to make it seem like we're not talking about how great Jaylen has been, because Jaylen, I almost think he can be an unsung hero with the knee thing. The defense he played in the second half of game 4 was really, really good. And that, I think, falls into this category. Him kind of gutting through the knee thing. It's borderline as far as unsung heroes go, because he's very sung. Yeah. So, but yeah. I do want to take this opportunity to throw it out there that Jaylen Brown, because of all of the Jayson Tatum love that's going on out there. I don't want to forget the fact that Jaylen is gutting through stuff and found his way to playing really great defense for long stretches. Maybe not entire, but he's finding a way. This is the playing through the pain, finding a way, tough SOB Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, for sure. I also thought, like, you go back to last night's game when Banchero went out, the Celtics didn't like leap ahead instantly. And like Jaylen was the one who kind of was like, seemed to kind of have that little bit of extra urgency of like, guys, now, right now, this is the time to like blow this thing open. And yeah, like other guys kind of took over after that, right? Like, Tatum kind of took over after that, but Jaylen was the one who got that going. Like, and I think, there has been like a level, I think Jaylen has talked about it explicitly actually, but like a level of like tone setting that Jaylen has done in these playoffs. I mean, again, we, talk about unsung heroes. Like, yeah, we're talking about the way that Tatum has played like Larry Bird over the last 3 games. Jaylen won them game 2. Like game 2 mattered quite a bit. And we talked about it at the time about like, hey, this is maybe don't forget this one, put like a little bookmark next to game 2 as like an important, early moment in a playoff run. Like Jaylen's been great. I think calling him an unsung hero is like, yeah, I think you said it right. Like we've talked about him pretty extensively. We've dedicated most of podcast episodes to him at times.
Yes.
But yeah, in the wake of Tatum's brilliance, it's easy to forget about other guys too. One of my unsung heroes is Pritchard. I feel like the defense was like really good at times, and like his offense like never really like got going to the level that you'd expect. But I just thought like the way he harassed Wagner and Banchero, and just like man, that just like looked really unpleasant to dribble around him, and especially like kind of funny to watch the shortest guy on the floor have so much success guarding, especially like Wagner, when Porzingis was just barbecue chicken against Wagner the whole series. So to have like Pritchard going at him is just this little like this little like pit bull like biting at his legs is like, golly, stop it. Like good for Pritchard.
So we're saying this knowing that Pritchard played well defensively, but okay, so on baskets, on shot attempts less than 6 feet. All right. He defended 18 shot attempts less than 6 feet. How many? What do you think the percentage is? What should the percentage be? And what was it?
I go ahead. Tell me.
Because if you're getting Pritchard less than 6 feet, I'm expecting the percentage to be very high.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So like
should be. I mean, he's shorter than me shorter than you by quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
So on 18 possessions, you probably figure they'd score on him like
a Wagner, like 10 for sure. 12 maybe.
Right. 9, 50%. So he stopped.
That's quite good.
Look, Payton Pritchard, getting Payton Pritchard down less than 6 feet, and he stopped half of them. Like that's actually not bad for a guy like when you talk about he's going to be the guy that's hunted. For him to stop half of the times that they got him down within 6 feet of the basket is I'll take that win all the time. Because that should be like 16 for 18, 15 for 18. Like that should be easy money. That he stopped half of them is like incredible to me.
Especially when you get 6 feet down, you're getting close to layup range. When 50% of those are misses, that's something that leads the other direction,
Now, Payton, greater than 15 feet, defended 15 field goal attempts. Only one make. So 15 times outside of 15 feet. So out in the perimeter. So where Pritchard can get up into your dribble and make it hard for you to deck the ball and try to drive by him. To me, you watch him, he got Banchero out like at the top of the key a few times, and he's just all up in his, and he couldn't dribble. He couldn't put the ball down to make his move. And so 1 of 15 on shots greater than 15 feet, that he is the unsung hero in this one. because like, you can mention like quickly here, we can mention Drew Holiday because he only played a couple of games, but those 2 games, he was huge. Al Horford was, he only averaged 7 points a game in this series, but he was 4th in plus minus for the Celtics.
And he also like really a reminder that like, okay, last year having Porzingis would have been good, but almost like it was almost simpler not having him because then you just played a ton of Al Horford.
Yeah.
And you just let Al Horford, go play defense. And Al Horford makes your defense so much easier and more fluid than like really any big this side of like Draymond Green, right? Like it's just he's so good at it. And so like just Horford's defense was just huge difference in this series.
9 blocks and
5 in one game.
2 steals in this series. Incredible. Yeah, I mean, all right. Since I'm bringing up stats, let's just dive into the interesting stats. Because there are a couple here where you're like, oh, okay, let's do that. We'll do that when we come back. Hey, thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. We got a Locked On for every NBA show out there. So we just finished up with the Magic, Locked On Knicks, Locked On Pistons. One of those teams is going to be the next opponent. Listen to both if you want, or you can listen to any show, any Locked On podcast that's out there. There's one for every team. Before we get into the preferred opponent, let's get into some interesting stats. One stat that I found particularly interesting here was that after everything, the Celtics finished their series 4th so far. There's other teams that are still going, but 4th in offensive rating at 117.4, tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Sean Grandy, actually, I don't have his exact stat in front of him because he had it like points per possession, whatever it was, points per possession, 1.7 something, I think it was, points per possession. It's the same. It was the same basic stat. The Thunder were seen as like, man, they just demolished Memphis, right? They just, it was embarrassing. And they went out there and it was easy for them. The Celtics, oh my God, they just got crushed, man. That defense, oh my God, they couldn't do anything. And they both ended up with the same offensive rating. I think the lesson here is that the Celtics didn't get the number of possessions to put up the raw numbers. And this is where the advanced stats come in. Those games, the Celtics games, were so slow. But within that so slow slog, say that 3 times fast, the Celtics still managed to capitalize on the few possessions that they had. So the offense was not the best, and it's certainly not what the Celtics are used to, but they are at 117.4. By the way, the Indiana Pacers, the crazy up and down, wild Indiana Pacers offensive rating, 118. Yeah. So only a half, like 0.6 behind the Pacers. It's a small sample size, but perceptions, and because things were so slow, Celtics offense, not as bad. It was so different, but not as bad as we thought it was.
Well, and it looked so much different, right, than what we're used to. So, which means, and this is, I think, where you do give Orlando the credit of like, okay, Orlando did make the Celtics do something else, right? Yes. And that, that matters. Like, because if we saw in Game 5 what it looks like when the Celtics play a inferior team the way they want to play. The second half of Game 5 is precisely what that looks like, and it's a beatdown, it's a blowout. And the Magic didn't let themselves get beat down or blown out. So, as much as I've complained online about watching the Magic, that's a credit to them. But the Celtics can still get offense in different ways. Like, and that's a big part of what makes this team so special is that, even if they can't do the, drive, collapse, pass 3 like even if they can't just spam that over and over and over again for an entire game, they can still get the requisite buckets to win a game. Like that's, speaks very highly of the team.
Let's go into plus minus. Raw total plus minus. Jayson Tatum plus 65 for this series. Number 2 at plus 53. Who is it?
Plus 53. Horford.
Nope.
Oh.
I'll give you one more guess.
All right. I got one more. I'll go Derek White.
Nope.
Okay, who we got?
We mentioned him already. Payton Pritchard.
Payton Pritchard. Okay.
Payton Pritchard, who only scored 46 points in this series, which was behind. So it was Jayson with 125 points, Jaylen with 115, played in one more game, Derek White with 86, Kristaps with 60, Pritchard with 46, then Horford with 35. But the raw plus minus, Pritchard, and very much helped by game 5 and that big, huge explosion. But the fact that he was there, and part of that, okay, so you take out the last game, the Celtics won by 30, and he was on the floor for most of it. He was still a plus. I'm not going to do all the math, but he's still plus 20 something over the course of that series. He's still a significant plus for the Celtics. So I thought, that was interesting. I don't have any other interesting stats. I only had those 2. So just because I thought that the Pritchard thing was, was telling. And you know what? I this now applies to Pritchard and applies to Jaylen Brown. 2 guys that at some point in their careers I was like, I don't know. This is it. Yeah. And big shout out to Payton Pritchard for busting through all of these. I keep saying, like, and there is, by virtue of his size, still going to be some level of limitation somewhere. So he's not just flatly playable for 30 something minutes and it's not going to be a concern. There is always going to be like a little bit of a concern, but he has just tempered all of those way down. It's incredible. It's incredible where he's gotten to this point in his career. So, shout out to him.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. Pistons and Knicks. The Knicks are the 3 seed. The Pistons are the 6 seed and fighting for their lives, but they managed to extend this series. You don't know what's going to happen here. It could go 7. I wouldn't be surprised. It could go 7. Just
especially the Knicks are starting to get banged up. Like they were hurting after last night's game.
Yeah, Brunson with the ankle thing again.
Yeah.
Like, listen,
Hart did not. Yeah,
they're wearing down. They are wearing down.
Whomst could have seen that coming?
I mean, geez, no one. Who would you rather play?
If I'm the Celtics, I think I'd rather play the Knicks.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's funny too because I saw this Pistons fan today online being like, "Man, I think I gotta start liking Jayson Tatum because Celtics fans are so nice about Cade Cunningham." And it's like, it's like, you know what, dude? Like, Cade's great.
Cade's awesome.
I don't, you know what? Like, if you can push off facing him for another year or 2 in the postseason,
right?
It's not the end of the world, And
I would like to avoid the Banchero, Cade Cunningham, future faces of the league kind of gauntlet. Thank you.
Yeah. But it's like, and this is, I think, the thing for me is like, you come off playing the Magic. Wouldn't it just be nice to have a team like the Knicks where it's precisely the formula. It's your sweet spot. There are multiple guys who have to be on the floor who cannot guard your guys. Like Brunson cannot guard your guys. Karl-Anthony Towns cannot guard your guys. And anytime those guys are on the floor, they're going to be targeted, and they've got to be on the floor. And it's Thibodeau, so like they're going to be on the floor 53 out of 48 available minutes. Like they're going to be out there a lot. Like, so yeah. Do you want to face, Beef Stew and all these guys after facing Orlando? Like I wouldn't. If I'm the Celtics, I don't really want to see, I don't want to see Detroit. I don't have to deal with all that. Just
It's
give me
like
the guys who I can beat for sure.
it wouldn't be the same level of defense, but it would be the same. It would be the same flavor profile. You know what I mean? Like it's the same. Like, okay, I don't know if my palate can take this much spice anymore. Can I just get something bland?
Yeah.
So can I get some plain old white rice just so I can temper like a glass of milk so I can just wash this down? We can play hot ones later and I can get back to, the bomb when they play like the Cavs or the OKC, presumably. I just want a nice glass of milk to wash all of this out. The New York Knicks, like you said, it's just so perfect. It's so cookie cutter. It's like the matchups are there. You're going to draw two. You're going to get the 2-on-1s. The passes are going to be available. It's just going to be, can you make those shots that are presented to you? And maybe some people, struggle and maybe some people don't, but the offense is going to look so much better. It's just going to be so incredibly different. And then the Celtics defense, well, you just saw everything that you can do, everything you get away with. Like the Knicks there's no step up from them, right? Like this is going to be a much different series for Boston because of everything we just said. But for the Knicks, it's going to be like, oh God, we got to face this defense on top of now you're facing a defense that's better than the one that you're facing, just as physical. And oh my God, that offense is a million times better. Like that is not going to go well for the Knicks. I mean, if it's New York, it could be another 5 games. It could be easily 5 games. So, give me the Knicks. And that is both disrespect for New York and respect for the Pistons. And if any Pistons fans are around, man, you don't understand what it takes for a guy who grew up on 80s Celtics basketball to be giving Pistons their flowers. But I'm giving it to you guys. Like they are the less talented, just overall roster. I just don't want any piece of it. I just don't want it. I'd rather have the Knicks. Give me the Knicks all day long.
Yep. Well, the formula is just, it's there. We see
it's there. Very simple.
It's very simple. It's so simple that the Celtics did it over and over and over in the regular season. So
that's going to be fun. So what we're going to do, what I'll do is, what is it? The Celtics, that Knicks game is tomorrow night, right? It's the Thursday night game.
Yes, sir.
So Thursday night, Knicks, Pistons.
So many more Pistons fans in my life than there used to be. I want good things for them. But if I'm the Celtics, I would rather have the Knicks.
Absolutely. So I'll wait the podcast after that game. Let's see if there's a preview of sorts going on there. So thanks, Tom. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll see if the Knicks oblige or if the Pistons, like as I said after last night's show, I'll say it again here. On Thursday night, go Pistons. Let's go Pistons. On what is it? Saturday night would be game 7. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. That's what you want because I didn't even mention this. Game 1, I promised this and I didn't say it. Game 1 for the Celtics is on Monday, the 9th. So the Celtics are the 5th. Okay. So this is the Thursday show. They are off on Thursday. They'll practice over the weekend. Monday, game 1. Tuesday off. Wednesday, game 2. Thursday, Friday off. Saturday in New York, the 10th, game 3. Presumably in New York. Sunday off. Monday, the 12th. And then from there, that's the 14th, 16th, and 19th are the if necessary dates. So I'll be there wherever it is. I'd love to go to New York. I used to live there. I have friends there, so I'd like to go and hang out with them. No offense to Detroit. I do not want to go to that city right now. Maybe there'd be a better time. Come on. I know. I want to go to this part of... Never mind. So bottom line, as I ramble on, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't. If you are a subscriber and you're still here after all of this rambling, thank you so much. I do appreciate the everydayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Show's free. It's available everywhere. It's on YouTube. Hop into the comment section on YouTube. Lots of comments, lots of trash talk. This is the time of year where everybody from other teams comes in and calls the Celtics all sorts of names. So hop in there, defend the Celtics honor, have some fun with it, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.